The Valley Current.
Hey, Joe, how you been, man?
Good, Jack. How you doing?
Pretty good. I have to tell you, there's a lot of people talking about whether there's really a bubble, both in the stock market as well as in the real estate market. I don't know what you're seeing, but people are just saying it's amazing what's been going on in both markets. And you would think there would be some correction, but it's just not happening yet. I don't get it. I don't get what's happening.
I don't know. We've been talking about this for a while, and they both have gotten so frothy. The stock market and the real estate market, you know, I just because I'm looking for places in San Diego, I'm spending more time on the foreclosure sites. But I'll tell you, it is amazing when you have access to all the foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, the notices. They start tracking once people are late for 2 or 3 months, I guess.
Right.
Amazing. I guess I just didn't have any frame of reference, but I'm astonished at how many places are in jeopardy right now. Not in $2, $3, $4, $5 million homes, too, in some cases.
Right. I sent you one that was in Burlingame. There's a couple of them in Burlingame, but are you getting what's called the blue sheet in Santa Clara County? There's something.
No. How do you get that?
Well, there's a guy that actually goes to the courthouse and he's automated it now. I don't know whether he's getting the data electronically, but years ago, he used to go by hand to the Santa Clara Superior Court and look up published notices of default. Because, of course, just so everyone knows, the way California works, unlike East Coast states, we have the concept of a trust deed, which means that there's essentially a deed that's entrusted for the purpose of assuring that the debt gets paid. So there's a promissory note that's secured by typically a first or second trustee. Usually it's a first. There's all sorts of issues that come up if it's a second. And the first trust deed holder is typically a bank. It doesn't have to be a bank, but they write the standard paperwork. It's very, very aggressively in favor of if the loan isn't paid on time, meaning the monthly installment, then a proceeding starts. But the way the proceeding starts is by notice of default that's sent and recorded and published in the courthouse. And there's a guy that publishes something called the Blue Sheet, at least in Santa Clara County, but they probably have something comparable in San Diego.
I'm guessing.
That basically says, look, we see that someone has received the notice of default, and it's kind of like in the residential landlord-tenant side, you get a 3-day notice to quit if you haven't paid your rent on time. That doesn't get recorded, but it gets served on you. Okay. And you have 3 days to pay your rent. Well, this is more like, hey, you haven't paid timely on sometimes 1, 2, or 3 installments. Usually they'll wait until it's more than one single failure because they know people sometimes bounce checks. There's all sorts of crazy stuff that happens. Sometimes the bank is more efficient and they catch it early. Usually they phone first because it costs them money to have a lawyer generate this stuff. It's not so automated yet. So sometimes you see that there's like 3-4 months owed, and it might even be a good loan. That is a loan like at 4%.
Yeah, right.
A good loan. And there are all these rules about can you buy a property privately and avoid a due on sale clause that might be in the paperwork on the promissory note, where you can basically take over the loan or buy the property subject to the loan. So there's all sorts of things that are possible if you catch it early. But the tricky part is, how do you get in to see the house to see if it's not ruined on the inside?
Well, how do you do that? You can't in most cases. And one of the reasons I've dove into this a little deeper, I'm trying to educate myself in that area, is that I have a client that just about, several months ago, she called me. She goes, Joe, I got this great property in San Diego as a condo, but my daughter lives down there, and she told me this parameter she couldn't get inside of. But the long story short of it is, she bought this in December in a foreclosure. There was a $200,000 private note. She had to come in with that, and then
Right.
and then Chase. There's like a $337, maybe $340,000 Chase loan first,
Right.
and I'm not sure if she assumed that or come. But the bottom line is, so for I think it's like less than 600 grand, she got a $1.3 million condo, but she could not see the inside of it though. But
So she took a risk.
she took a
big
risk. Yeah, but
Could
for
have been a
that
big
kind of
risk.
equity, right?
Well, there could be mold, there could be bad planning. I mean, there's
true.
all sorts of I mean, sometimes there's even intentional damage where the person is getting pushed out and puts cement down the toilet, and I mean, you could have a lot of crazy stuff. Now, if you're willing to be adventurous, obviously there are people that knock on doors and say, "Look, I'm in the neighborhood," and one of your I mean, they sort of overstate things, but they sort of say, "Hey, one of your neighbors said you might be selling." There are people that write handwritten notes. There are people that send postcards. There's all sorts of, I mean, there are even people that pretend to be consultants, and California passed a statute that said, look, if you're a consultant trying to help someone renegotiate a workout, because there are people that actually do that, but they actually sometimes do it just to get in the house to figure out whether you follow what I'm saying. It's
I do. I see.
So what they did is they required like a registration from people that want to be in that business. Okay. Almost like, hey, you have to have a certification that you really are in the sort of workout business. Because look, there are people that can rearrange their debts. I mean, you've helped people indirectly. I have. You've said to people, look, why are you carrying all this credit card debt? You can kind of get a HELOC, home equity line of credit, or do something smart, rearrange your affairs. And usually the last resort is bankruptcy. That is, usually people will stay in, they'll file for bankruptcy as a way to get a stay on the foreclosure. And you'll have to wait out whether the bankruptcy court holds an auction. And
I guess in some way, I know it's a little bit slick and shot, but I guess in some way I do have a little bit of a benefit in the business side. I mean, I could legitimately contact someone, right, and say I'm in the business of restructuring debt.
But you got to be careful, because that statute kicks in.
Oh, I see.
And then it says you really have a conflict of interest because you are helping them. Like, you'd have to get a bunch of stuff signed by them that says, yes, I still want to sell it to you. Or, sometimes people were like, hey, there are syndicates that have money. They'll prevent your record from looking bad by taking over the debt. Sometimes people do co-ownership deals, where if the house is big enough, the other person gets to live in it with you. I mean, look, you can even find a new marital partner that way. I mean, crazier stories are out there, Joe. I mean, seriously, when people are losing their house, they kind of feel like, and this AI thing is having an effect, because there are layoff notices, and there are probably 50 to 60 to 70% of the U.S. population lives paycheck to paycheck. And so if all of a sudden someone gets a 2-week notice that you're out of here, and they get their final paycheck, and the final paycheck doesn't really add up to enough money to carry them, and they don't have some savings, which is why, of course, the conservative advice is always to have 6 months of savings so that you can tide yourself over, because job searches can take that long. You might lose your house. Now, there are all sorts of other games that people play. They move in with their parents and Airbnb their places as a way to kind of generate revenue, right? And sometimes, by the way, if you do an Airbnb in San Diego, sometimes, particularly if there is a notice of default against it, and maybe the person is sort of bailing water, you can start a direct negotiation that says, hey, I like your house from the Airbnb side. Are you interested in selling it? And if you have enough research, right? I mean, if you're really savvy in figuring out what's going on, sometimes you can get someone who says, yeah, I can't get a lot of real estate people won't take on a house that's in a notice of default situation, because they worry that they won't be able to sell it fast enough. And then the person will say, well, you didn't sell it fast enough and I lost all my equity, right? Because if you're a real estate agent, you don't represent that you're going to get a sale to happen like in 3 days. I mean, there are a few people that are saying they can actually find an offer or get an offer regardless. You could argue those people are sort of saying, yeah, well, we have money and we have enough money to at least pay off the loan, assuming the house has some equity in it.
It's a very interesting dynamic right now. I really, I like you listen to a lot of stuff, you read a lot of, you get a lot of information. And I actually spent a few hours with some guys, some from Google, and another one was from NVIDIA and so on. And we had just this AI conversation. So as much as they embrace it and endorse it and say it's here, they also said that they also were telling me it was like they're what did they say? The terminology. They said they're eating each other. Like everybody, any kind of new AI company coming out, before they even spend all the money and start and do all that, they've already been eaten up, or someone already bypassed them. I don't. They were just trying to explain to me that.
I think what they were saying, Joe, is that a company will get started, like even bootstrapped.
Right.
Then the idea gets taken over by a bigger player.
Yeah.
Meta. In other words, it's a little bit like what happened years ago when people would say Microsoft can instantly kill a company that like adds a feature like a spell checker or a grammar checker to Word.
Yeah.
They instantly see if that becomes successful, and they turn around and announce that they're going to add that feature, even if they don't really do it right away. They freeze the market.
I see. Right? Okay. That's what they probably meant. Yeah.
And there was a quote from Sam Altman recently that OpenAI has so many projects under work said, hey, if you do a startup, don't be surprised if we kill you. It's not intentional, but we have a lot of secret projects going on all the time, and we decide how to roll them out. And just be aware that if it's something that's really interesting, we probably have a project going. It's sort of another way of saying they don't really want parasites leveraging off of their tools if they can provide the product or service themselves. They're sort of trying to direct what people do away from the core technology that they're providing. They don't want to see that. They want to see people sort of build applications on top of their stuff, as opposed to provide some alternative to their stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I just got to believe that we're going to have a pullback here, and maybe they both at the same time, maybe simultaneously, maybe different. But I just have to tell you, and I know we say this for a long period of time, but like on Lisa Street, she lives in a nice neighborhood in Willow Glen, but there's these tiny houses, like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Right. That like a 5,000 square foot lot. Even it's not even, it's a nice neighborhood, but I would just still argue it's not Saratoga, Los Gatos, Palo Alto. It's just different. It's San Jose. Right. And it sells for over $1 million. And I keep looking to I go, even if you have the money, that's got to stop pretty soon. Like, how far does that go before?
I don't know. I can tell you, I had this little house in Palo Alto, 25 by maybe 120. So half the size of the lot you just described is 5,000 square feet. It was essentially 2,500 square feet. And it had this little cottage on it that couldn't have been more than 1,250 square feet, basically single story, 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And a garage. And I always thought, man, that property will never get into the 6 figures. When I bought it, it was $50,000 max. And when I sold it, it was like 1.2 million. And when I visited the person who bought that place, because I said, well, where do you think it is now? He said, I've doubled the value is like 2.5 million now. So literally, we're talking $2,000 a square foot, Joe.
Well, in Palo Alto. No, and I'm not trying to. I'm saying that, in my estimation, and I saw this on the Mortgage Meltdown percentage-wise. I did a bunch of shows on it. So I would argue like Palo Alto is so much different And just like we saw homes in Stockton and Lodi and weird places that were going crazy. That's kind of my point. Like at one point, this pullback, Palo Alto might have a 10% pullback, right? Or 15, but you're going to have some areas that are probably going to have 30, 40, maybe. I don't know.
Well, usually the really high end, like, $10 million property, there's just rarefied air there. There's just not that many buyers. Right. So we see it, or I've seen at least in the 40, 45 years that I've been in Northern California and graduated from law school. Yeah, at least 45 years ago. Stinson Beach has gone through at least over that period, at least 6 cycles of ups and downs. And the really high end in Stinson Beach will essentially either be taken off the market or there'll be some serious reduction. So,
I see.
I remember at one time it used to be at Stinson Beach, which of course is not that easy to get to, right?
No, it's not.
You really have to do a lot of twisty-turny driving up Route 1 to get there. I mean, it's not that many miles as the crow flies. And someday when there really is an electric helicopter, all those properties are going to go way up in value because it's going to be a lot easier to get there.
Yeah, right.
I remember when, you could buy a place on the beach for $1 million and people thought that was expensive. The price on the beach now, the average price on the beach is north of $5 million.
Wow.
And that is not for a perfectly fixed up place. The perfectly fixed up places or the newly constructed places are north of 10 million. Now, if there's a big storm, and there have been some really big storms, and there are people that get into a distressed mode, you could see a 50% reduction. You could. Now, are you going to feel good about going in at that price after a big storm when there's been some damage? I don't know. I can tell you there are a lot of people that worry that climate change is making a big difference on the beach. And the beach can get whacked pretty hard, and there can be a lot of flooding, and there's no flood insurance. Maybe it exists, but most people can't afford it. So I use that as a litmus test. I think Palo Alto is a really special place because it's so close to Stanford. The students will pay. Students have rich parents, or students can afford it on their loans, whatever. They'll pay top rents. Yeah. So I remember someone that I knew that was living and working in Oregon said, "No, I don't buy any rental properties in Oregon. I buy them in Palo Alto because on average I see 15% a year regular returns."
Wow.
15%, Joe.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing, right? If we think about it.
Wow.
And of course, it's leveraged because they buy it when typically the mortgage rates, the trust deed rates are under 5%.
Yeah, man. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. We'll have to wait and see. What you and I both know is everything can't continue to go north for it can't continue, right? Or I guess maybe it can. Maybe that's a ridiculous statement.
Are you set on San Diego? I'm kind of curious how you're thinking about.
I've just always liked San Diego. It's still California, and it's still expensive, but it's not. You could get a little more for your money, certainly in the Bay Area, because it's I love the fact that there's so many beach towns, like unlike this area, you got Santa Cruz and Capital. I don't really like the beaches around here. But on the other hand, you have so many beach towns. And we visited them again. I spent 3 days there last week. My daughter's down there, and
she's down there working. She's working down there.
She's working and living down there, and so I've had an interest there for several years. I just couldn't really do anything until this divorce was over.
Is she renting? Is she renting down there?
She is renting down there, and that's another reason I kind of keeping an eye on foreclosure stuff because technically, if I get something, I could have some built-in renters right away with her and her roommate.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't you tell me that you found something that was really unique and you were looking at?
I did. I did, and I went and looked at it, and I don't think he's going to do it now. It's a client of mine that bought a beautiful property in Carlsbad. It's a big lot. It's over a half acre, and it's a great neighborhood. It's just basically a tear down, and he's gonna split the lot, divide the lot, and it's gonna take some time. He wondered if I wanted to, build something, but I don't know. At this point in my life, I'm not sure I'm interested in something like that.
Well, let me give you a hint of what I think some people do, and they do it effectively. But
Okay.
whether you can get it, whether you can have it occur, will probably take a few lunches with bankruptcy lawyers down in San Diego. So what you do is you go into the federal bankruptcy court in San Diego, and you just hang out and look at the lawyers going in and out of court, and try to go to the cafeteria, try to strike up a conversation with a bankruptcy lawyer or several or many, and literally say, look, I'm an investor. I've got cash. I'm looking for situations of distressed real estate that I can bid on. Mm-hmm. You might be representing someone, or you might be a bank. You might be representing a bank. And that is the way. Wow. It's kind of the dirty secret that we're now sort of telling people, but of course they don't want to do the work. You have to actually get to know your friendly bankruptcy lawyer, and they will see you as a resource, because they will say, oh yeah, I got this situation with this client. They need some help. If you're willing to kind of give them some time to exit and give them a fair, slightly above or slightly below whatever the negotiated number is, that's a way to get legitimate access. Now, they're represented by counsel, so you don't have all the problems of knocking on doors and that sort of thing, right?
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I don't mind doing that.
You can do it the hard way, which is try to look at all the bankruptcy court notices, but getting to know 5 or 10 bankruptcy lawyers. I mean, there's a lot of them in San Diego, I'm sure. Yeah. But, literally, you'd have to tell them who you are. And I know some people who actually would do a mass mailing. They would create an LLC that says, we buy distressed real estate, and they do it a mass mailing, and they would probably, send a gift of some sort, like, they'd include a pen, or they'd include a pad or a calendar or something. So the person knows who you are. If you want to start to be in that business, I mean, you're doing it to get a deal on what might be your future residence.
Interesting.
There also probably are some real estate companies that try to advertise that they can get a full price offer, or they can get an offer of some sort. And if you can look at their advertising, and you could say, I'm kind of interested, when you get a listing that's kind of interesting, I could be a private buyer. And sometimes they just created their own little private market to some degree without even going on MLS, right?
I see. Okay. Those are some good ideas.
Yeah, you have to spend time with all these people, though, and get to know them. And of course, they'll tell you this neighborhood is gentrifying, or I think the greatest signal is, oh yeah, this neighborhood is turning gay or lesbian. That's a big forward signal, in my opinion. No, seriously. Or there's a Whole Foods that's about to be built.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Or there's a Pete's Coffee, or there's a Starbucks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah. No, I'm in, not any super hurry. I also just keeping an eye on these markets, and I have a couple of real estate agents down there tracking stuff for me, and then, I'm following a few. We'll see. But I just, there's seems to be pullback everywhere, even around here. And
well, Joe, I got to tell you one thing. If you want to broaden your horizon, I heard a presentation yesterday. Might have been the day before yesterday. This medical doctor in San Juan, Puerto Rico, has bought up a bunch of beachfront in San Juan. He's got investors. He's going to build like 3 or 4 towers. He's got a name for this thing. He is trying to get people to see that he's got a program of rejuvenation for people over 60, maybe even over 55, that he says, if you buy a condo in one of my high rises, I will show you how the tax savings that I will get you on your federal taxes by doing a business out of Puerto Rico. And I throw in to the project price all of the rejuvenation services for keeping you healthy. And
Really?
so he's baking in like a gym and red light therapy
Wow,
and
almost like
massage,
wellness living.
wellness living, like not a retirement home yet.
Right.
I mean, eventually it'll become a retirement home. I mean, he's aiming for people that are still working and have income.
Right.
But he's saying, look, I'm going to build this blue zone, what had been called historically a blue zone, because people seem to live to 100 or 110. And I'm going to do it right in a place that is effectively a tax haven while you still keep your American passport. He's got kind of a goofy name for it, I thought. I mean, I remember saying to him, it's something like Aura, O-R-A, gold. I mean, it's sort of like, this is like the place where you're gold, you effectively, you generate a more golden life, I suppose. I mean, it should have a different name, in my opinion, than that, if the real goal is to help people stay healthy. But he was very credible. He was like in his 40s, and he was like, I realized that 330 days of sunshine, of course, some of the remaining 30 or 35 days are like monsoons and hurricanes and, takes all the electricity out. Right. Today is the anniversary of Katrina. You remember the Hurricane Katrina?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There was stuff on the radio today about how, people still have not recovered from that hurricane down in New Orleans. Right?
Wow.
They said their houses have been slabbed, not slammed, but slabbed, meaning the house was gone. All that was left was a slab.
Yeah,
they never able to rebuild.
In real estate, you're probably seeing it. I'm seeing the price reductions in some areas of Florida. I guess especially the high rises and the condos and all that stuff, because of the insurance and HOAs and all that. I guess they're just really coming down, huh?
Well, you should come over here because I got a call. I haven't gone to see this place yet. I got a call from a woman who moved to India. She's originally from India. She has a place on the beach in Florida, near the beach in Florida, in a big high rise. And she can't sell it. And her agent said, we keep lowering the price, still can't sell it. And so the listing is expiring. And she said to me, can you help me find someone, maybe someone from California that wants to move to Florida? Of course, Florida's got certain benefits, like no state taxes.
No state tax.
The beaches are beautiful. The water is warm. You can get into the water almost all year long, all year round.
You know where it is, where it's located?
Yeah, I can get you the address. You can look it up on Zillow. Okay. Maybe she hasn't aggressively reduced the price. It probably has some issues on the inside. It's been empty for a while.
Yeah.
But it's the same drill, right? Because you're dealing with, where do you want to live? And most people, they want to live near family and friends.
Yeah.
If your family is moving to San Diego, you're going to have that bias. Yeah. The truth is, as your kids get older, they don't have time for you. That's the real truth.
That's true. No, that's true too. Well, I mean, I'm not doing anything urgently, we'll see. I mean, I have a good situation right now. It is weird, I'll have to say, like I said before, I've always owned real estate since I've been 27 years old. And at the current time, I don't own any.
Well, if you're these days, if you're in cryptocurrency, you're probably making a lot more money than any appreciation on real estate.
I can't. But I can't tell you, between COVID and this divorce, I'm finally, I really am. I'm finally doing the things I've wanted to do for a long time. That I just, you know how it is. You work for 45 years. And you're raising families, and you're focused on all these kinds of things. And I woke up a couple of years ago. COVID started with me, and like, I don't want to wait till I'm 85 to go enjoy life. I don't. I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it.
Joe, let me tell you something. Whenever I'm on a flight, I count the number of wheelchairs that, of course, they cart these people in ahead of you, and you have to wait. I mean, of course, I try to be respectful, but it has grown from just 3 to 6 to 12 to 18. And I say to myself, I don't want to be on a wheelchair being carted into a plane.
No.
I can't. It's so embarrassing. And I think to myself, probably when you get into your 90s, there's no way but to get carted in with a wheelchair. So you got to do the best travel you're going to do before you turn 90. Before you turn 80. Right?
No, that's my goal before I turn 80. I would even say I'll be 65 in November. And I would even say the next 10 years I want to get massive travel and experiences underway versus, I do. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So,
you don't want to be, let's face it, when you go on a flight and you have your own little roller bag, you maybe have a first class seat. They don't help you put the goddamn roller bag above they look at you. And I remember saying to one, a flight attendant, a male, big, strong, 6'5", 250-pound guy, you mind putting my roller? Oh, we're not allowed to do that.
Oh my God.
You're not allowed to put the roller bag into the storage locker that's above first class seat.
That's crazy.
Service. Oh, I can get you a glass of champagne. I'm like, I had a roller bag that had a couple of computers in it. It was actually kind of heavy. And I thought, I can ask this guy. And he was like, no, we're not allowed to do it.
Oh my gosh.
It's like against union rules or something.
That's amazing.
Okay, can you hang up my coat? Remember that when they used to be able to put your coat on a hanger?
Oh man. Well, that's funny. That's a whole nother story of the airlines. I tell people the story all the time, especially when Lisa and I travel. I just think it's funny now because now, when I had that wristband idea of scanning everything, barcode everything, bill everything.
It's all done. It's all there now. All your ideas manifested.
It's all there now.
It's all there now on an iPhone, right? It's all there on a smartphone.
On an iPhone. No more cash.
They look at you like you're crazy if you have a paper ticket.
Yeah,
and you're trying to scan the paper ticket and it's all crumpled up. They look at you like, why isn't it on your phone? What's wrong with you? What planet are you on?
Where are you? Are you in Florida or are you back in?
Well, we just came back from New York.
Oh, did you? Okay.
We were in New York. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening in New York. We'll talk about it some other time, but we want to talk about real estate prices that have gone through the roof.
Still skyrocketing.
Still skyrocketing. Still very, very high in Manhattan and really throughout all 5 boroughs. And maybe we're going to see this stuff crater. I have to tell you, there were a few people I met in New York on this trip who said, we think a major, major, major correction is about to happen.
Yeah.
Literally within the next 3 months, a major, major tsunami of real estate is going to hit the market based on essentially white collar people being laid off.
Yeah. I keep hearing.
We don't need you anymore. We don't need your shuffling of paper anymore. We can get that done through automation, whether it's AI or anything else. We just don't need you to be moving paper from one place to another.
Amazing.
And I think that's going to be the beginning of the major tsunami. And I don't know what happens. People probably have to go into completely different professions.
There's got to be a correction. I'll just take my sample size, and maybe you're hearing it too. I have at least a half a dozen friends that are really qualified high tech people. I mean, very qualified. Mm-hmm. They're having a hard time finding jobs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And granted, they're older. They're in their 55, 60, so that's probably part of it. They don't want the old guys anymore. But
no more. No.
I mean, and I think you're right. I think there's major cuts coming, and no one wants to. It's a whisper, right? No one wants to announce it because then it spooks everyone. Mm-hmm. But why would you need marketing? Why would you need? There's so many divisions of a company. I don't even know why you would need it anymore with this evidence of AI.
Well,
I don't know.
You hope to get something more creative, but a lot of people are not that creative. I mean, if I had to give any advice to a high school student today, I would say study all of the people who have studied creativity. Dr. Edward de Bono, Rick Rubin, a bunch of people have looked at essentially psychology and neurochemistry and how does the brain work, and get to be the master of your brain and get to be the master of your creativity, because the grunt work is going away and you don't want to do grunt work.
No.
You want to be creative. You want to come up with an idea. You want to come up with an angle. You want to come up with a way of doing things that are different. So study all those people. And all of them have podcasts now. You don't even have to spend money on stuff. Yeah. Get an Audible account and listen for free to the first 10 minutes of most of these books. And the first 10 minutes of most of the book reveals, just like on Kindle, you get the first chapter.
Right.
The first chapter often is the whole book. If you look at what the book is about.
Right. Yeah.
But Joe, we're going to keep tracking this, because I think we're going to see something really big, and it's going to have a bit of a domino effect. And it really could be something like what's going on in D.C., where now we've got a federal army or National Guard or something that's taken over the city. And I think a lot of people will just move out and actually change jobs. And, the other advice, frankly, is you probably, if you have a government job or any type of job, you have to be thinking about what's your backup plan, what's your safety net, what's your parachute. You can't be thinking it's going to be permanent or forever. You just can't.
I have to tell you, and on a side note, I have to tell you, I wasn't planning on this, but and it was weird to begin with, but I have to say I'm enjoying a more simplified life.
Well, it's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.
And it's hard for a person who is very creative and always having ideas and always, it's hard, right? I mean, it's hard. But so you keep learning, keep studying, so none of that stops. But I have to say that the simplification, even Lisa's kind of funny. Lisa's like, things are going really well, and we've been together a couple of years, and she's got a store, so she's physically, and so I'm telling her all these things I'm going to do, and she's looking at me going, "Are you crazy?"
Well, you probably got a little bit of your brother. Isn't your younger brother always taking kind of a freer path? Or is he not doing that?
My older brother, he's been in the wellness business his entire life. He's still going hard with that. And I have to say, he walks the talk. He still looks really good for his age. I mean, he looks like he's.
Is he in Santa Clara County? Where is he?
No, he's down in San Luis Obispo County.
Okay.
And they've lived in Arroyo Grande, a little city right near Pismo, for about 12 years now. And he's got a wellness clinic out there and kind of a wellness coaching thing. I'm
surprised you're not looking there.
It's a place I thought about, but I'll tell you, one of the things I don't like about that area is it's there's not a whole lot. It's a great weather. It's great little towns, but there's not a whole lot to do. Not a bunch of golf courses. And by the way, I want to be near an airport that I could get almost anywhere from too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, San Diego, you can almost go anywhere now. Matter of fact, they're just finishing that major expansion at that airport that's supposed to open up any day now. And I didn't realize it's that busy of airport to begin with, but it is one of the busiest airports in the United States.
Oh, isn't it like Southwest Hub? Is it in SAN?
Yeah. I think they're one of the bigger ones for sure. But
all right,
we'll do. Nice catching up with you, Jack.
All right. See you later. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Tune in next time on The Valley Current.